asking you to tell the audience a little bit about you so that they can kind of
Sure.
connect with something
Yeah.
about you. So whatever you're willing to share, we're here to listen.
Yeah, sure. So I live in Wilmington, North Carolina, but I'm originally from Boston, Massachusetts. Me and my wife had moved down here 3 years ago because my daughter went to school here, and so she moved down here, and now we have two grandkids down here, and we just basically, once we found out that we were having grandkids, we needed to be close to them, so we just decided to pack up and move and down here, and that's where we are. I've been here 3 years, and I got my whole family's down here. I got an older daughter who moved down here like a year and a half after we all moved down here. So that's
By the way, I'm from Boston too, so I can well,
uh,
I'm from New England, so I can
right,
definitely detect that Boston accent. It's great.
right, yeah, yeah,
Well, that's wonderful that you are surrounded by family. So I definitely want to hear a little bit about that. How long have you been married?
yeah. I've been married 35 years. And
Congratulations.
thanks. It'll be 35 years November.
So let's kind of back up a little bit. Russell,
Hmm.
I met Russell through our private Facebook group. He purchased the devotional and he was a very active participant in our Facebook group. And he made it to maybe day 70 something and
Yeah,
chose alcohol. And then he
yep,
restarted. And
yep.
we're going to talk about that in a minute too.
Mhm.
Restarted. And now you just told me you're on day 270 today?
Yeah, 250.
250.
Yeah,
Congratulations. Congratulations. But when we add the
thank you.
70 something
Yeah,
days,
right, right, right. It's almost a year. I would be. I would have been a year actually in July if I didn't have that one slip up.
Okay.
But,
Well, let's talk about the background. Your background to drinking looks
mhm.
very similar to mine. So, when did your, alcohol usage start and when did it become a problem?
Right. Yeah. So I started drinking in my youth, and like at that age, I didn't really think it was an issue, and I just brought it into my adulthood, and I used it. But I functioned. While using, I never ended up in any, hospitalizations or programs, or detox or anything of that nature. But I was just basically using, and unknowingly, it was affecting me in ways that were, that were affecting my relationships. Most importantly, my relationships. That's what was really got me really you know, to stop. It was one of the main reasons that I quit. And yeah, and it got to a point in my life where I was just like I was in this vicious cycle, of like maybe drinking, one day and then and taking and not drinking for 2 or 3 days, but then drinking on the planning day. I'll drink today, but I won't drink tomorrow because I won't. I'll feel like crap, and then I'll drink another day, after I feel better. And I get tired of it. I knew that I needed to make a change, and my faith played a big part in it as well.
Yeah, and when did you start? Like you said, youth. What is youth to
Oh,
you?
probably like 18.
Okay, so maybe a little bit after high school.
Right, right, right. Yeah, yeah. Probably like my senior year in high school, I started to really, party in my last year of high school. Stop, just getting together at parties, drinking with my peers, stuff like that.
And we didn't talk about this, but what do you do for a living?
Right now, I work for a GME hospital rental company, and we rent hospital equipment. Like you can either private pay for it or insurance.
Okay.
Like that wheelchairs and hospital beds, stuff like that.
Okay. And
And
so your job requires you to drive or are you
we do have a driver, but I work in the store just as a CSR. Like wait on customers and stuff like that. And
okay.
actually, to add to that too, actually, which made me thought of this too. When I was growing up as well, I worked 20 years doing concrete forms, and that nature of business where it was drinking because it was hard work. And
Construction, right.
right, right. So I was in that environment of just like where you were surrounded by drinking.
Did people drink on the job?
Um, well, when you do that kind of work, if you work for small companies and stuff like that, there is no HR. So if you wanted to go to lunch and have a few beers at lunch, you
Yeah.
didn't have to answer to nothing.
That was
So
kind of the same thing. I was in mortgage banking and we'd go out and have margaritas at lunch. I was kind of useless
yeah,
after that, but definitely
right,
happened.
right, yeah.
So, when did you start noticing it was a problem? What got affected first?
Well, I was doing, a lot of times when you do drink, I think it gives you an excuse to, I guess let your guard down, and you can kind of do things, and you can just blame the alcohol. I said this, I was drinking. I did this, I was drinking. It was the booze. So a lot of the times when I was drinking, in some issues with my family, doing things that doing things that I wouldn't do sober. And it could, um, like, for example, I would give would be like, at my daughter's graduation, actually down here, where I live. I got drunk, and I just wasn't there. I wasn't there for her. I wasn't there for the family. I wasn't there to enjoy the moment because I was so enmeshed in the booze, and my daughter picked up on it, and there was a time at Christmas where I ruined Christmas, um, all because I was drunk, and I and sometimes, and when I was drinking, I I still believe in God. My faith was strong, and my family wasn't saved. And then when I would drink, I would think of those moments when my family wasn't there, with God, and it would come out in a bad way, and it would
Oh,
push
so
my
you
family.
were trying to be an evangelist under the influence
Yeah,
of
yeah, yeah. I
alcohol?
guess I guess that's the way to put it. And they didn't want to hear it. Well, they don't want to hear it anyways. But and when they wouldn't want to hear it, I would I would, instead of responding to it, I would react to it, and it just made things worse. So I knew that in order for me to be a witness to them, and for order for me to change, I needed to get off not just alcohol, but I needed to get off all substances, and I needed to make a change where I could witness to them, and hopefully they could see in me, the change and the real man that I am today. And I think I've come a long way. I still got a lot. I'm never going to be perfect, but I've come a long way in my growth with Christ.
Yeah, let's talk about that for a minute. Tell me about your walk with Jesus. When did that start?
Yeah,
Um,
sure. Yeah, so about '08, when my mother was sick, I unfortunately had to. Yeah, I witnessed her pass away from cancer, and it brought me closer to I believed, but I didn't have a relationship. So it brought me closer to the Lord, and I started going to church back in Massachusetts. Um, and then I found a church. I was going there. Things kind of fell away with not just me. A lot of the men there. There was I hate to put a spin on it, but there was a woman pastor there that was supposed to replace her, and she ended up staying. And a lot of the elders didn't agree with it, and so I ended up staying. But I ended up leaving. I ended up leaving, like probably like a half a year later. So then I ended up at a great church, actually, which I'm still down here. I go to Calvary Chapel. Chuck Smith. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I'm right. So I'm really happy at my church that I go to. Um, so yeah, yeah. So that's how it all started. But I still was enmeshed in some bad habits. Some and which is okay. I mean, but it took me like years to drop a lot of the things now that I don't do anymore. It's like, and it's still a process. Now I'm just dealing with with, I guess you could call them, character defects. I guess I still have anger
I
issues.
don't call them that.
Yeah, well,
I just say we're all sinners. That's it.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah. We're all sinners.
and we're
We
all
definitely are.
growing. We're all
Right,
growing
we're
in
all
our relationship, and we're all,
right,
yeah, healing from
right.
things of the past. So you you started recognizing it was a problem, primarily in relationships. It didn't have too much of an effect on productivity at work or health or anything like that?
Well, I mean, as far as working, I've always maintained a job, always worked. I don't think I ever interfere with my job. Like I never called out sick. I never, even if I was not feeling good from drinking, I always, managed to go in and work. Um, yeah, but it definitely was affecting my health as far as like my, digestive system. Like after like the next day drinking,
Oh,
stuff like
yeah.
that.
Yeah,
And
I remember
just
that.
yeah,
Um, so a little bit, well, it is, if you know it or not, it was definitely affecting your health, whether you realize it or
yeah,
not.
oh, absolutely. And
Um, but it sounds mostly like it was really interfering with your relationships at home.
yeah, that was a big thing for me. With my kids. I mean, they are not perfect. I mean, without a doubt. I mean, then they played some roles that were, some of the things, kind of made it unhealthy. I mean, I always think that when you get in situations like that, it's not a one-way street. But
Yeah,
yeah, but a
I
lot
mean,
of
families are difficult, no matter the best families
right,
can be, and
right,
dealing with problems within a family unit while under the influence is not usually successful. It certainly wasn't for me. So,
right. Yeah, and my wife too. I mean, it would. My wife like has like she can have a drink and go out to eat, have a drink, and she's fine. And she'll end up putting water in halfway through the drink. So she doesn't drink. I would call her not a drinker. Um, yeah, so we're just on an uneven plane there with the drinking, but and things have gotten better. Obviously, in the last 8 months, pertaining to that, it's just like the faith. I mean,
yeah, so
you know,
tell me, what was the defining moment? Did your family decide for you that you needed to quit drinking, or did you decide?
well, they definitely. Well, my wife did. I mean, my kids really didn't say too much about it. I mean, when I quit drinking, my kids kept saying, "Oh, you're not missing anything. You're not missing anything." I think they felt like they felt bad almost like I quit drinking. I'm like, don't feel bad for me. I'm not. This is something I want to do. I'm not. Yeah, I did it for myself. I will say this. I mean, I definitely did it for myself, but I do pray that that people would see the change in me by not drinking, and they would be curious about that, and they would be, and they would
Well,
think about
let's talk
it.
about that because I know as you were active in the Facebook group, it was really hard for you, if I remember correctly, that people were not noticing or saying
Yeah,
anything about the change. I have
right.
my own theories about why that is, but I know it was super hard on you. But now that you're, well, I'm going to just call it a year with a little bit of
Right.
a reset. Are
Mhm.
they don't have to say anything to notice, but are you noticing a difference in your relationship with them? Do you think they've seen the difference in you?
Um, yes, I do. Um, I've when I'm with them, there's the problems are not they're not there. I mean, you typically you get your stuff that goes on that you might like get stressed out about, and that's normal. But other than that, yeah, everything there's no like major there's no drama. That's a good way to put it.
And you were
That's
the
going
one creating the drama.
yeah, a lot of it. But
Not
yeah,
all,
so
yeah, we
it's
won't give you all of that burden.
but
Um,
yeah, most definitely.
if somebody My experience is if other people have, there's two reasons why people would not engage with you anymore. One is out of concern that they would be tempting you. And so they have
That's
this
true.
fear and they don't understand that you're strong enough to choose and say no.
Mhm.
And the other is because they like to drink a lot. And now if you're um not under the influence, you can see what's going on. And
Mhm.
so, yeah, it's
Right.
uncomfortable for people. Like for me, if I was a big drinker, it's like, oh, they're noticing how stupid I'm acting. You know what I
right,
mean?
right.
So
And
I
plus, I
don't,
think it's. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, I don't think it's something that is personal. I think it's about them and whatever they're thinking. It's not like, oh, I don't want to hang out with that guy anymore. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
Well, we
Yeah,
don't have an idol that's standing in the way between us and God, and it's so freeing. And
right,
that's what I try and tell people. This is not a burden to not drink. It's a gift.
right.
And yeah, so
And,
what have you
and
been,
you're.
go ahead.
And I was going to say, your devotional really was the foundation. I did your devotional, the 12 weeks. It was the foundation that got me. It saved me. It got me off. It was the root. It's the roots of where I am now. And what I did after your devotional was over, what I did was I took what that devotional was, and I used different devotionals, and I used the same concept,
Oh,
and I just did devotion day after day, and I journal day after day, and that's what really has kept me off the alcohol.
that's
That's
awesome. Yeah, and I just think that's a big part of it because I think the enemy will always want us to redirect our attention to something other than God. And that's when we get in trouble. And so I'm glad
right,
that you found other devotionals to keep you connected.
right,
Your relationship with your wife, things had to change whether or not she celebrates it outwardly.
right.
But I have to believe there's a better connection between you.
Yeah, things have gotten better with us. The only thing that has been a conflict area for us now is her not in relationship with the Lord, and it's I get lonely, not long because I'm married. I'm not, and I have Jesus. You get Jesus is enough. But having said that, I'm married and she's not walking with me, and
Yeah.
it's tough. And sometimes it gets in the way of the marriage because we're
Yeah,
unevenly
I
yoked.
understand that. I had a non-believing spouse too, and it's very, very hard. And it's just continuing to walk and pray, uh,
Right,
for that
right,
connection, because it is a wonderful connection. And the more we love Jesus, the more we want others to love Jesus as well. And
right. And but we do get along very well, though. I mean, outside of that, being unevenly yoked. I mean, she's a good woman. She's good to me. We've been together a long time, and she respects my faith. Sometimes you're in that dynamic of unevenly yoked. Sometimes it does, and it doesn't last. But I don't see that happening because we respect each other.
oh, that's awesome. Well, we never stop praying, right? And there's
Yeah, I
it's
got it exactly right.
we're gonna do another podcast part two episode when she gives her life to Jesus.
That would be great. That would be a good one.
Yeah, yeah. So tell me what other areas of your life have expanded as a result of this
Um,
walk?
I do gotta add one thing, and I know it's not that it's not that we shoot down the AA people or the celebrate recovery. I don't go to AA, but I do. Well, I have a friend who goes to celebrate recovery, and he invited me to go. So I did go, and I go on Monday nights. I go to, but on the celebrate recovery, but I only do the open group. I go to the open group. I go there for an hour and a half. We eat together, we fellowship, and the people that go, they really are the godly people, the good people. I
Oh,
don't.
absolutely. No, no question. And if people get really stuck, I
Right,
tell them find, you need
right,
other
Right.
people that aren't drinking. So
Right.
try to celebrate recovery.
Right.
And
I don't do the 12 steps though. I don't do the 12. I don't do like after they break off. I just go for an hour and a half. I hear people give
you do
testimonies.
bring my devotional and say, by the way, this changed my life, right?
I'm going to if when they let me spend it because I go I do go get a chip when I hit a month, and after a year they let you speak, and when I go up there I will
Oh, wow, that's
absolutely mention because
amazing.
like I
God.
said it.
I do have a lot of people that go to celebrate recovery. Um, and it's Christians who love Jesus. My only desire though, it's just for me it's so hard because the 12 steps have just saved so many lives. And I love the fact that I think it's Calvary Chapel uh applied scripture to the steps. But what I'm trying to do, apparently, statistically, only 8% of people who have a problem reach out to
Mhm.
help for help because of the stigma.
Right,
Because we put them in this
right. I
group, and you
mhm.
go over here and you stay
Right,
with your friends, which is a good thing, right? We want
right,
friends at church. But I think that thing about always needing to go,
right,
I I want people to feel like they're healed
right.
and to develop friendships. It's taken me a little bit of time, but I've developed friendships with people that don't
Mhm.
drink. I'm serving at church. I'm finding more friends that don't drink. I was in church and I hung out with a lot of people, godly people who drank. And now I'm just, switching out. But once we
Gross.
realize that, I'm just going to repeat what I said before, that Satan is always looking for a reason to redirect our focus
Mhm.
and to a different idol. Then it doesn't matter if it's drinking, gambling, shopping, internet,
Right,
porn, whatever, right?
right, right. Yeah, absolutely.
So it's really about staying focused on Jesus.
Right.
And I like to say serving. Now I think in the Celebrate Recovery or the AA world, the way they serve is to help another person. But I think there's more ways to serve in the kingdom,
Mhm.
because we're all given gifts.
Right. Well, I do think though, I believe you had brought this up, and I agree. The word recovery, I think everyone's in recovery. Everyone's got something going on, right? Everyone has a hurt past or a present moment where they're dealing with issues, and then someone's recovering from something somewhere. I mean, it's
Always, right?
right,
And
right,
that really kind of is the basis for Celebrate Recovery. Um, Theoretically, Celebrate
right.
Recovery is a program for everybody in every church, right? And so
Exactly,
that's
right,
what I'm trying to do is create this program that is applicable to just living life.
right.
And
Yeah, yeah, and yeah, and being free.
yeah, and being free. I don't think I think the steps are helpful for some people. I've actually compared the steps to my core concepts, and I
Right,
think I cover pretty much everything, but in a completely different way, right?
right,
Instead of character defects, I'm just saying we're all sinners,
right.
and God's grace allows
It's
us to
right,
get this gift of forgiveness to
right,
acknowledge and not beat ourselves up,
right.
to forgive
Yes,
others. The one step that I don't do is to make amends. Because I figure if your heart is in the right place and you've got all the other things going on, that's a natural result of this process is to say you're sorry, like
right,
for something that you did. You know what I
right.
mean?
Right, and
Um,
forgive others. But sometimes I find forgiven. Yeah, I mean, I can do it, but can I completely release it from myself? It's hard sometimes. I think it's just the normal reaction. If someone wrongs you in a way that it really takes time, times for that wound to heal, it can be tough sometimes. I mean, and I think it's okay to feel that way. I mean, but you don't want to hold it. You don't want to carry it around with you, though. That's the thing.
That's really it. And that's inside the core concepts. I like this thought that, when somebody sins against you, they owe you. They have a debt towards you. And
Right.
forgiving somebody else is just giving that collection of a debt to God and letting him handle it so that you
Exactly.
can relieve the root of bitterness in you, because any root of bitterness is causing other people not to
Hmm.
see your light. If we, nothing
Right.
worse than a complaining, bitter Christian who said, "Oh no, I'm not
Right.
forgiving that."
Right. Right. And I think, go ahead.
Well, and I think what you're saying is something I say in the program too. When I say program, it's the core concepts.
Hmm.
Um, is if something comes up again, it's just that it hurts, right? And
Right.
it's like, okay, that hurt, but okay, God, I gave it to you, and we're going to move on. We have to make sure that we're not bitter about it,
Right.
and redirect our thoughts to something else because it's been forgiven. Because holding a grudge
Yeah,
towards
that's no good.
somebody who's never going to feel sorry or might not ever feel they're sorry.
Right.
I don't know if you know this, but the devotional was written because one of my best friends, when I told her, I was like, oh my gosh, I see God in everything I'm learning in this secular program. And she accused me of listening to Satan. And
Really?
yeah, it kind of messed with our relationship. She said she didn't want to hear it anymore. And I was
Wow.
devastated, crying, called my
Right.
pastor. But
Yeah.
I look
Uh,
at that as such a blessing, even though it hurts so much. I mean, she really did believe it for whatever reason, but it was the impetus to me writing the devotional because I'm like,
Oh, right.
I'm gonna show you I do see
Right.
God in all this. And look at
Right.
so God used that very painful event to do
Right.
something
Right.
beautiful, right?
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Absolutely. Definitely.
Yeah.
That's
So, Russell, I do want to talk about this because I love this about your journey. I'm assuming you tried to quit a number of times, right?
the drinking.
Yeah.
Well, I but prior to trying to quit, I'm gonna be real honest with you. I never even gave it a thought. I didn't think I had a problem. I didn't think I had an
Oh,
issue
wow.
because because it's just like I grew up with my family drank. They were World War II generation, and I just had so many people in an environment where people just drank around me. I just thought it was normal.
We all do. Yeah. But you had to believe it was a problem. So you were just going, well, I'm only mean when I drink. And so that was okay with you?
Right. Well, you know what's funny is that I do, and it's getting so much better after I quit drinking. Is my anger? I have problems with anger, temper, and things like that. And I do know that that the alcohol was just it was fueling it. It was absolutely, you know, getting me going with it. Um,
I would
and
be
I so
super angry as well. Mainly even when it wasn't when I was drinking, when I wasn't drinking, but what I realized about that, well, I had things to be angry about. However, my body was in withdrawal from the alcohol. And so it raised my level of irritation up a couple of notches. And I used to believe I was a super angry person. And probably like you, I found out I'm not that
right,
angry.
right, and I used to get angry when I wasn't drinking as well. Um, but I think it was a combination of the alcohol and vice versa. I was probably drinking, because of my hip, my hurts inside, my anger issues, my depression, my anxiety, and so forth. So I was probably, younger drinking. Yeah, I was probably doing it to party. But as I got older, it wasn't. I wasn't partying. I mean, I was an adult. I was married. I had kids. I wasn't going to parties anymore. I mean, I was doing it to mask my problems.
Right.
And it took me a long time to figure it out. So even though maybe I didn't try to quit um, a lot, there was definitely some things there where I was using, and I sh- I knew something was wrong. I didn't know what it was until I put it together. This the alcohol is affecting my life. I need to do something about it.
So you really were kind of oblivious to the problem until you were like, oops, this is it. You quit.
Or
So
right,
you didn't have the normal negotiations and I'll only do it on the weekends or after 5 or on special occasions. No?
no, 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 because
Wow, very cool story.
why is that normal with a lot of people that when they
Most
try to
people, yeah, they do a lot of negotiations before they're willing to go, okay, that's it. You
right.
know,
Well, I always do think about that. Maybe like I said this to my wife, and I know I'm not going to do it. Like I said, I'm going to quit a year. Maybe I can have a beer every now and then, but it's probably a bad idea though,
I would definitely tell you it's a bad idea.
right? I know that's so. I have said that, but I'm not going to do it though. I mean, why even bother doing it? It doesn't
Well,
wouldn't make
you
any sense.
already have evidence for how much better your life is, for how much more light that
Right,
you have to give through the Holy Spirit.
right,
And I think going back to, there's no reason to believe that using it again would provide any different results than the ones that you've already experienced.
right,
Um, so yeah, but let's talk about the fact that what happened on day 75 or whatever, you were almost done your 12-week challenge and then
right,
you chose to drink.
right. I think I was being a little bit immature. I basically um, something happened. I got in a little disagreement with my wife, and I basically got mad about it, and I just went and bought a bottle of wine, and I just started drinking. It was immature on my part, and I wish I didn't do it, but I can't change what happened. And but now that I'm 8 months in, if a problem comes around, or something doesn't go my way, or I get stressed out about something, I don't even think about doing that.
Yeah, and now I think you have that as just evidence and an experience to go back to. How long did your drinking, was that a one night event or what were you back on
Yeah,
drinking?
well, that night I got a bottle of wine, and then I don't know, man. I don't know if I wanted to get out of my system. And then I actually like Ubered some beers to my house, and I had a few beers that night, and I stayed up late, and I was not feeling good the next day.
I bet.
um,
Not a
and yeah, and that was, I don't know if it was just like one more get out of my system thing, or or what it was, but that was it. I
It's
just
just part of your journey. It's no shame. So it
right.
was just that one night and then you were back on track.
Yep, yeah, I had, yep, I had to wait. Well, technically, I drank past midnight, so I had to factor that in there the next day. Oh, I gotta wait.
Yeah, but good for you. I mean,
Yeah,
that's a great journey. It's an easier journey than most people have. So congratulations.
right. And it was bad. And that night too, I was drinking, and through like text messages, I was attacking my family. Like I was drunk, and I don't know if
Oh,
yeah, it was not a good thing. I had to kind of like, yeah, go over the whole thing of mending some fences again and everything. And it's,
so
yeah,
you
just a
have
reminder.
a lot of evidence that provided you a lot of evidence for,
Right.
you know,
What's well, how bad, what's not good about it? That's for sure.
yeah. Well, congratulations for all your wins. So You
Thanks.
have been so good at sharing in the Facebook group, although I miss you not sharing anymore. You should,
Well, I go on and I read. It's grown, but you know what's so funny? It's
yeah, but
grown.
you
And,
you should go in there like Erica is and go, hey, you
right,
guys, 8 months
right,
and keep at
right, right,
it because I think
right,
more
right.
people need to know. But what do you want people to know that are in there and just really struggling? What would you like to tell them?
For the ones that are struggling, I would say that they need to put their faith in God as a priority, and from there they can do anything. I mean, but pertaining to alcohol, you need Christ in your heart. You need Him to direct your ways, and as long as He's there with you, he's gonna bring you to where you want to go. And I'm talking about quitting drinking. He's gonna get you there. You're not gonna do it in your own strength, and because you're gonna get tempted. You're gonna go through moments where you're gonna want to reach for a drink. I mean, I do. I was have cravings. I still have cravings. But if you lean on Jesus and um, and go to Him and for everything and put Him first, you can't lose.
What
You'll.
did you what did you do when you had temptations to get you through?
I When I had temptations, I would pray. I would pray about it, and I I would just what I would do. What I also would do was I would go just pour a glass of sweet tea, or I would just
Okay.
go, or I would just go mix up a cranberry and seltzer with a lime. I would just get my mind off the cravings and just or eat something, get fill yourself up.
Yeah, no, I love that. Just follow the craving and fill your
Right,
glass up,
right.
just not with alcohol. I love that. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, you're
And
welcome.
sweets, yeah, sugar definitely.
Well, it's funny, which we haven't talked about. I don't know how much time we got, but yeah, the first 5 months is I will admit 5 or 6 months I overindulged in sweets and I gained some weight, but it kept me off the booze.
Yeah.
And-
Whatever you need to do is my philosophy. Yep.
right, and now in the last month or so, I've not cut out the sweets, but I got them back to how I used to eat them drinking. And I run like three. I go running a couple miles like 3 times a week. At my age, I can't do it like I used to. And I've actually lost a few pounds, and I feel better.
Oh. Well, congratulations. You're an inspiration to so many. I appreciate you coming on here and sharing your story. And I want
Thanks
you
for
to
having me.
come into Facebook again and
No, I will.
starting.
I gotta go. Well, I do go in there and I read. I notice there's more people posting in there now, and I'm like, I probably should
Yeah.
go in there and comment on this.
And we need the encouraging posts too, because a lot of people are
Right.
struggling. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I
Well,
will. I won't. I'm not gonna disappear. I go on there.
all right. Well, thank you for inspiring so many. Congratulations on your 8 months. We'll just give you a year
Right.
thereabouts.
Well, I want to say thank you for having me, and also, thanks, for you getting me rolling on getting off alcohol because you got me there. I mean, yeah, I did 2 weeks on my own, but then I needed help, and I found your book, and it saved my life. Pertaining to drinking, it saved me from getting off the alcohol. So thank
Mm.
you.
Oh, thank you. I take that in with great sincerity. So thank you.
All right, good.
Those kind of comments keep me going
Good.
to save the next life. Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely. Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay.
All right.
Um, and I'll see you in Facebook.
Yes, I will be there. Absolutely.
All right. Bye.
All right. Thank you. All right.